We're going to start with part two of the drone class. Today we're going to go through the weather. What affects your drone, the conditions you can fly in, the conditions you can't fly in, what you need to look for. It's pretty simple. There's going to be a lot of big words thrown around. I struggle with them. I got a feeling you all ain't going to have no problem. But yeah, we're going to go over things like surface conditions, wind, air masses, fronts, the stability of the air. That's going to be the main thing. Is the stability and the pressure systems that come in. I know it's a lot. This thing is pretty legit. The Part 107 is it's pretty much a pilot's license. So here we go. We're getting ready to get started. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is air masses. Fronts. That's pretty simple. It's when cold air and warm air meet, it causes the atmosphere to be unstable. It causes different things to happen. So the zone between two different air masses, between that cold air mass and that warm air mass, the zone in between that when they get ready to meet, that's the front. So atmospheric stability, that's just a stable air mass or stable atmosphere. It resists any upward or downward movement. The air is stable. It says it right there in the name. Unstable is just the opposite. There's updrafts, downdrafts. There's disturbance, in the air mass. So a stable layer of air would be like when you got warm air and cold air, and they're just kind of sitting on top of each other, like mixing oil and water. They sit on top like that. They don't mix. That's a stable air mass. And just to reiterate, something we talked about last time was visibility and cloud cover. You have to be able to see 3 statute miles. You got to be 500 foot below a cloud and 2,000 foot horizontally away from the cloud to fly. It's 3 statute miles of visibility, and then 500 foot below the cloud and 2,000 foot away from the cloud. Those are numbers that you have to remember, like they are going to be on the test. Simple enough, but just remember those. 3 statute miles, 500 foot, 2,000 foot. All right, so thunderstorms, conditions required for a thunderstorm is sufficient water vapor, unstable lapse rate. Lapse rate is the rate which the atmospheric temperature decreases with an increase in altitude, or increases with a decrease in altitude. And then an initial lifting force, just an upward boost of air. These are required to have a thunderstorm. The 3 stages of a thunderstorm are cumulus, mature, and dissipating. Cumulus are continuous updrafts. Mature is updrafts and downdrafts. It's the worst of the thunderstorm. Start of rain. That's the beginning of the mature stage. And dissipating is just what it says, is when the thunderstorm starts to leave and level out. All right, there's a section over fog. I'm just kind of going to list the different types of fog. And if you all have any questions or want to talk about it, text me, call me, email me, and we'll get it figured out. There could be some questions about the different types of fog. But radiation or ground fog is one. Advection fog, which is sea fog. Upslope fog. Precipitation fog. And steam fog. I've never said fog that much in my life. So now we got density altitude. I know all you all know what altitude is. I'm just going to read the definition here real quick. Density altitude is pressure altitude corrected for non-standard temperature. As temperature and altitude increase, air density decreases. In a sense, it's the altitude at which the airplane feels it's flying. So really what it's saying is the higher you get, you're climbing a mountain, and the higher you are, the thinner the air is. There's less molecules in the air. So really, the way I like to look at it, those props, those blades on your drone are spinning, and the more molecules that are in the air gives it something to push off of. So lower altitude, there's more molecules closer together. Higher altitude, the molecules are spread farther apart. It's thinner, so there's not as much for the blades, the props, to push off of to fly. All right, so before any pilot, gets in the plane, they have to look at these charts, or they have to call in and look at these weather reports, and there's places to go and things to look at for this, and we need to do this for our drones too. We need to check weather, we need to check conditions, things like that. And a couple of the reports, one of them is called a METAR, it's Aviation Routine Weather Reports, and then a TAF. It's a Terminal Aerodrome Forecast. So one of the systems to look at is ATIS, A-T-I-S. It's Automated Terminal Information System. These are most usually found at towered airports. Someone with a control, someone on the radio talking to the pilots, and giving record of the winds and NOTAMs and things like that. Just general information the pilot needs about the airport. So the METAR and the TAF, they kindly speak in code. Like there's everything's shorthand in the aviation stuff. So everything they want to be short, precise, and get their point across. So everything will be in code and abbreviated, and we're going to have a special video just for being able to read these weather reports. All right, so we talked about the stable air masses, and we're just kind of going to go over what to look for to recognize that it is a stable air mass outside. And it's just going to be a list of things, and it's just something that we need to memorize. It's not super long or super complicated, but stable air masses are found with stratiform clouds and fog, continuous precipitation, smooth air, and fair to poor visibility. Like a haze or a smoke. So when you hear it, it's kind of to me it sounds like an oxymoron. Whenever you say a stable air mass, that's when you want to fly. And when you want to fly, most people think, oh, I want to go out when it's sunny, when it's pretty out. But really, that's not the case. If the sun's shining and just blinding you, you can't see. So you go out when the air is stable, it's more of an overcast and cloudy, and the stratiform clouds and then or fog or something. Now we can't fly in fog because the visibility is so poor. But that's just a characteristic of stable air masses. So unstable air is cumuliform clouds, showery precipitation, like kind of spotty, rough air, turbulence. I know you've heard turbulence with airplanes and stuff. So when it's clear like that, the air is really choppy, and that's not when you want to fly your drone. You do have good visibility as far as being able to look out and see just straight ahead. But there's wind everywhere, and then it's hard for you to look up. You're looking at your controller, but you always have to have your eye or have a visual observer, remember a VO, looking at your drone, and that's hard to do when the sun's just beating down on you. So there's kind of an overview of the weather and the things we're going to be looking at, as far as the weather maps and the forecast and things like that. We're going to have special videos just on reading the maps, the METARs. But like I said, if you all need anything, email me, call me, text me. We'll get it done. We'll try to get you on this part 107.